Welcome back to part 2 of the test positions on decoying tactic. We start this position with black to play number 7 in the series of part 2. So what do we see here? That queen is on g5 and like there is a pin on this. So black would like to play bishop into f3, and here if the queen is not there on e2, then it is not possible for white to play g captures f3. He would be losing a piece. So there comes the idea of decoying the queen from the e2 square on which it is standing. The move is easy to guess, a sacrifice, rook d2. So now here we see queen being attacked, and now it does not have any safe square from where it can defend herself as well the bishop. So here queen captures d2 is forced, and now bishop captures f3 comes with a checkmate threat. Here now black is threatening queen captures g2. So the only move for white to defend this threat is moving the pawn forward to g3, and now we see that there is a weakness on light colored square. Black queen would like to come to g2. So the winning move is easy to guess. Plays this queen to g4, and it is impossible for white to prevent the black queen from coming to h3 and delivering mate. Of course, that can be done only by offering queen free. So here white resigned. Moving ahead, the next in the series, here we see that it is white to play, and white observes that black queen on c5 and king on f8 are on the same line, and if at all he is able to decoy the queen to b4, then it would be in line for a discovered attack. 3 pieces on the same line we had learned in the session of discovered attack. Then white can play knight captures e6 with a check. So offering 2 minor pieces will allow white to win the queen of black, and that's why the decoying move bishop b4, it brings the queen under pin, absolute pin. So here black, it is forced for black to play queen into b4. We now see the dream of white is realized. 3 pieces are in the same line. Queen on b4 is unprotected. Discovered attack is now brought about with knight captures e6, check, and after bishop captures e6, white is able to go queen up with queen captures b4 check. Let us examine what happens if in this position, like white, instead of playing bishop b4, starts with n into e6 with the idea, same idea, means he wants to play on the next move queen b4 and pin it. And of course this is a check, and here also it's a knight fork. So this sacrifice needs to be accepted by by black, apologies, but here it is perfectly okay, because now black will play bishop captures e6, and this move will lead to an attack on the queen. So therefore it is not possible for white now to play bishop b4, because it will allow black to play bishop captures g4 and rook captures c5, and here black would simply just get out of any threat of further discovered check by moving his king to g7. So the timing is very important in this position. The move bishop b4 should come first, drag the black queen in line of the white queen. And since like right now the bishop is on d5, it is no longer attacking the queen on g4. So that's why it becomes forced for black to accept this sacrifice, and now comes knight into e6 check. So bishop into e6, by that time the queen is now ready to play queen into b4, which was previously not available when he started the continuation with knight captures e6 first. I hope you have understood this. Moving ahead, we now move on to the position from the game between Dimitrov and Gingiswali. It is black to play and win. So what should be the decoying move? Which piece should be decoyed? Imagine this knight on f5. It is in very good position, threatening knight into g3, and then further threat would come on queen on h5. But as of now, it is perfectly protected by rook on f3 and king on h2. Should the king be decoyed to h1, then it is problems for white, and this is where the move rook h1, the offer of a rook, forces white king to come to h1, and now we also see that rook on f3 has come under mortal pin. So this allows black to play knight into g3. It's a knight fork, and white can no longer protect the queen. So after king g2 allows knight captures h5, and white resigned. Moving ahead to the next position, it's from the game between Holhausen and Tarrasch, and we see great Tarrasch falling into a trap with a decoy tactics. So here in this position, white simply played bishop captures f7, king captures f7, and now comes the idea of dragging the king further. It's very much reminiscent of Fischer versus Resevsky game. White played in this position knight e6, absolutely super move, attacking the queen, which is like no outlet, no fresh air, it's trapped. So this forces king into e6, king is decoyed to the e6 square, and now white can declare checkmate with queen d5, king to f6, and queen f5 checkmate. You can examine Fischer Resevsky game. It's a miniature which I have provided in the book in the general opening theory part. You can see this game, similar type of miniature, where also like Fischer plays e6 and drags the black king out with a threat of mate. Of course, Resevsky prevented the mate over there by giving up the queen and continued further. But that was, just what we say, temporary. The game was already lost for Resevsky with queen down. But if he had accepted the knight, then the mating finale would be somewhat similar to Holhausen Tarrasch. We now move on to the next position from the game between Kaplan and Henrich. It is white to play and win. So what do we see in this position is basically a discovered check is set up. White needs to move his rook and where he should move. So comes the idea of double discovered check. It's also like square vacating technique. So comes rook f8 check. Double discovered check forces king into f8. There is no other possibility. In fact, as we had learned earlier, both the pieces are attacked. For example, knight on d7 can capture rook on f8. So does bishop on e7, rook on e8. Knight on d6 can capture bishop on c4. But when there is double discovered check, practically there is no defense for the side in check. He needs to move his king or at the most capture with the king. This is what happened in the game. Here black has to play king captures f8, and now it is not possible for white to come on f7 and declare checkmate. But if he can now go to h8, then it is mate, because f7 square is already guarded by the bishop on c4. So that is why comes the decoying move ng6 check. This decoys the black pawn from his post on h7 to g6, and now the x falls with queen h8 check and mate. Wonderful combination by white. And now the last one in part 2, it's from the game between Yefimov and Gusev with black to play and win. So how does the decoying move comes? Let us examine this position. White, queen of black is in good position, would like to come to g2 in support of some piece or capture on h2 if the rook is not there. He also is ready to invade with rook c2 or rook c1. c2 is of course guarded by knight on d4, so it is not possible to give c2 check. But like if we can get a check from c1, then that would be over, both the major pieces would infiltrate. So the idea of decoying the rook from h1 comes to mind with bishop f1. Fantastic move. And what are you now threatening? You are threatening now queen g2 check. And you know, once like king goes to e1, there follows rook e1, and it would be game over for white. So now this forces rook into f1. We will also examine what happens if, you know, white defends the square with rook g1. Let us first see the main line, what happened actually in the game. There followed queen into h2, king to e1, and now rook to c1 check and mate. A very good idea of showing how to infiltrate with major pieces when they are in commanding position. Let us now examine what if white decides to play rook g1, does not capture bishop on f1. So in that case, h2 is left unguarded, so allows black to infiltrate. Queen captures h2. Now white can of course play king captures f1, but then the result is same. Black invades with rook c1, there follows queen e1, and now here black can go ahead in material count. Rook captures c1, king captures e1, and queen captures g1, leading to a heavy material advantage and a win. So friends, this concludes our part 2 of the test positions on decoy. I shall be coming back with part 3. Bye for now.